the $4 future, a paltry investment that would buy rock and roll immortality for Elvis Presley. When most people invest in their future, they have to dig deep into their pockets. Doctors usually spend years paying off their medical school loans, and businessmen often lay out thousands of dollars of seed money to start up their dream business. Elvis Aaron Presley, by comparison, got off pretty cheaply. He managed to purchase a glittering future that would turn many successful doctors and businessmen bright green with envy, and he bought it for only $4. Elvis happened upon this super deal in the summer of 1953 at 706 Union Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee. A sign in the little Sun Records studio there advertised its sideline, the Memphis Recording Service. The sign read, "We record anything, anywhere, anytime." As the words beckoned him, the youngster debated whether to shell out his hard-earned money. Oh, why not? After all, when he was a kid, he had won second place singing in a talent contest at the Mississippi-Alabama Fair and Dairy Show. And some of his fellow high school students had praised his performance in the school's variety show. Of course, there was also Miss Marmon, his high school music teacher. She had given him a C and told him he couldn't sing. But what the heck, it was only $4. As the 18-year-old Crown Electric truck driver plunked down the $4 fee, he had no inkling of what it would eventually buy him. He just thought that a record might make a good gift for his mother Gladys. For his $4 debut, he chose the Ink Spots' My Happiness and backed it with a country song, That's When Your Heartaches Begin. After he had finished and played it back, Elvis was disappointed with the way he sounded, but knowing how mothers are, he thought she would probably like it. Anyway, it was no big deal. After all, he had recorded it only on a whim, and he would probably never stop by Sun Records again. Fortunately, someone else in the studio was not disappointed with the sound of the little record. The office manager, Marion Kiesker, admired Elvis's singing and jotted down Presley's address, a neighbor's phone number, and the comment, "Elvis Presley, good ballad singer. Hold." That good ballad singer was once again lured by the enticing sign a few months later. This time, not only did Kiesker admire his talent, but the store owner, Sam Phillips, promised to contact him for some studio work. It was beginning to look as if Miss Marmon might have been mistaken. True to his promise, Sam Phillips called Elvis in for a trial recording session in April of 1954. Elvis gave it his best shot with a newly written tune, Without You, but it simply didn't click. Phillips, though, was again impressed with his voice and suggested Elvis experiment with other types of material. As Presley ran through gospel, country, rhythm and blues, and popular ballads, Phillips detected his raw potential. He suggested Elvis begin rehearsing with other musicians. Phillips contacted two members of Doug Poindexter's Starlight Wranglers, a local band that had recently cut a record at Sun Studio. During the next 3 months, guitarist Scotty Moore and bass player Bill Black rehearsed with Elvis in Scotty's house. Then on July 5th, Phillips called them into the studio for a recording session. It was during that session, as many books and documentary films have noted, that the King was truly born. As with his preceding session, Elvis didn't sparkle with the first few songs he tried. It wasn't until the tired trio took a break that rock and roll lightning struck. Elvis began fooling around with an up-tempo version of a blues song, That's All Right. Suddenly the fooling around turned a little more serious as Bill Black began to furnish a bass accompaniment. Then Scotty added some lead guitar licks. As they jammed with the unusual selection, something sparked across Sam Phillips' memory. He had previously believed that the heartfelt rhythm and blues of the black community could have widespread commercial appeal. But he knew the racial tensions of the time would never allow that. But now, right in front of him, he saw someone who could tap into the raw emotion of the lively black music, and who was, of all things, white. During the session, they recorded I Love You Because, a fast-tempo Blue Moon of Kentucky, and the song that would soon make musical waves across the South, That's All Right. Those waves would begin 2 days later when Memphis disc jockey Dewey Phillips played the new tune on his Red Hot and Blue program. Before the needle left the record, the lights on his phone lines began to flash. His listening audience wasn't exactly sure what they had just heard, but they knew they wanted more. It wouldn't be long before the whole nation wanted more. But there was a problem. This new white-black music didn't fit in any existing category. No one quite knew how to market it. At first, Elvis was billed as a country singer, with titles like King of Western Bop and the Hillbilly Cat. He found some success on country radio programs like the Louisiana Hayride, but many country fans felt he had strayed too far from mainstream country music. According to recollections, after his cool reception on the Grand Ole Opry in October of 1954, the show's talent booker, Jim Denny, suggested that Elvis take up truck driving again. As rock and roll history is acutely aware, he didn't. Under the guidance of the now controversial Colonel Tom Parker, a former carnival huckster who had once managed dancing chickens, Elvis was soon transformed into a living legend. From the youthful energy of Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, and Don't Be Cruel, to the mature sounds of Suspicious Minds, In the Ghetto, and An American Trilogy, he paved a one-of-a-kind highway to superstardom. His tumultuous journey would lead him from a 2-room shack in Tupelo, Mississippi, to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His voice would eventually be pressed into over 1 billion records. His image would become the 3rd most reproduced in the world, right behind Jesus Christ and Mickey Mouse. Even Miss Marmon would have to agree that's not a bad $4 worth.